Now, a report carried out by original inhabitants of the Federal Capital Territory has shown that 16 schools from the 6 area councils in the FCT lack quality basic education and healthcare. Their finding called for adequate infrastructure, access to education for all indigents of FCT, and to speedily appropriate the budgets allocated to the initiative of renovating 100 schools in 100 days by the FCT Minister. Benedict Oku has more on the story.
Briefing journalists today in Abuja, the Executive Secretary, FCT Innovation Center, Basi, has said that the findings of the FCT original inhabitants was to assess the level of quality basic education and to bring it to the government's attention to expedite action towards addressing the challenges.
Because schools were on holiday, when we were gathering our data, we can, however, deduce from the foregoing that the quality of education received in primary schools in indigenous communities require checkmating and close attention, because sometimes government invests so much to renovate schools, but they give it to contractors that they don't supervise. So the whole roof is down, and the contractor obviously was paid to do this project. So what is the lifespan? Who gave them the final approval that this project should be handed over to the schools? Because this project is actually a very new project, as it were. So you would rarely find these situations in the urban schools. What we're experiencing here, which is also a very clear finding, is that within the urban center you have schools that are well equipped, the environment are well maintained, but as you move away from the city center into the hinterland, you notice that the quality of education, the standard reduces drastically. Or on the basis of threats or insecurity, all schools were closed. And as we speak today, these schools have been reopened. So the question also is, what measures has government taken? We talk about safe schools. What measures has government taken? Many of these schools don't have perimeter fence. So our children are still going to return back to schools that are open without any form of security. Most of these schools do not have security guards. So these are some of the things that we're pushing, and these are some of the findings that came out from our community observations.
The FCT Education Secretary has disclosed plans to roll out an intervention initiative on renovating over 100 schools in the FCT.
Note what you have discovered in most of the schools you have gone around: blown off roofs, inadequate toilet facilities, destroyed or absence of boards, and the rest of it. We are all aware of this, and I wish to, and also the levies charged by schools and the arranged town hall meetings. I will first begin by telling you that there is a plan to renovate all our schools. In fact, the plan tagged renovation of 100 schools in 100 days, only 100 schools. But we also go with our traditional interventions in schools, where we renovate, provide roofs, provide infrastructure, sitting facilities, and the rest of it in the school. That was it. That one is pending. We have already planned for it, and we are only waiting for our budget to be passed before we commence work.
Now we are aware that the Education Secretariat is planning to roll out a project called Renovate 100 Schools in 100 Days. It remains an idea until the implementation begins. Therefore, we call on the FCT Minister and the FCT government to speedily appropriate budget allocation for the takeoff of this initiative.
The original inhabitants of the Federal Capital Territory have decried access and inclusion of social services across 3 key areas of basic education, basic health care, and WASH available to the OIAs within their communities, and have called on the government to intervene on the state of education in the FCT.